Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Pasensya na po na late kasi tumagal po yung Board of Regents meeting sa UP. Of course, my respects to our very active, very competent, very beautiful Chairperson of the House Committee on Appropriations, Chairman Mika Swansing, to the very able Senior Vice Chair, Congressman Abed Garcia. I'd like to make mention lang of our former colleagues, our favorite friends from the minority, Congressman Aidin Brosas and Congresswoman Franz Castro, sa lahat po sa inyong lahat na representatives ng civil society na nandito ngayon sa muli, magandang hapon po. Siguro ay tatanong nyo, hindi naman ako member ng Appropriations Committee, bakit ako kailangan magsalita? Pero kasi tayo po yung isa po sa co-author ng House Resolution number 94. And that resolution is a statement of our strong belief that the national budget is not merely a financial document. Hindi lang ho spreadsheet ang ating budget. It's a moral and political statement. It's the clearest reflection of our national priorities and the values we choose to uphold. We all agree here. I think every one of us here agree that this is a people's budget. This is not the House budget. This is not the government's budget. This is the people's budget. And therefore, the process of arriving at our national budget must be transparent, participatory, and accountable. That is why, on behalf of the authors of Resolution number 94, we want to let you know that your presence, our CSO and NGO representatives, your presence and participation here matters. I know that most of you, or if not all of you, are advocates, watchdogs, community leaders, and I regard all of you as partners for progress. So we'd like to thank you for lending your voice, lending your insights, and your vigilance to this process. We in government, especially the House of Representatives, are entrusted with the power of the purse. But make no mistake, we also understand with that power comes deep and serious responsibility. They always say leadership is a stewardship. And we are accountable not for just how we allocate resources, but also for how those resources that we allocate translate into real tangible change in the lives of our people. So you may probably have questions, how we were able to arrive at this process, and as mentioned by Attorney Abante, previous briefings, we can only do so much with the limited time that we have. But of course, we're looking forward to even sustain, with the permission of our chair, to even sustain engagement even after the budget is approved. So we can also monitor how the executive actually utilizes the funds that are made available to them. And that is why, if you notice, the core of observers that we have, they come from different backgrounds because we believe that budget reform requires more than technical expertise. It requires political will and broad public engagement. It requires, in a nutshell, all hands on deck. Government, civil society, and the communities we serve must work together to ensure that every peso in the national budget is used with integrity, urgency, and impact. And on behalf of the other authors of the resolution and the movers behind opening the process to CSO participation, I'm sure you would want na makapagtanong kayo during the hearings, but given they can. But also consider as the authors of the resolution that includes me, Kong Yeda, Andrew, and the speaker. If you have questions, I will ask them to ask your questions for you. So if you have concerns, please feel free to ask, to send your questions to us, your concerns, so we can also discuss it. I'm sure the chairperson of appropriations would be very willing to afford our representation with the time to propound questions to our resource person. But of course, this budget reform would not be possible without the leadership of our Committee on Appropriations under the capable and principled leadership of Chairperson Mika Swansing, and for opening more spaces to citizen participation, and for leading our budget deliberations with transparency and heart. I'd like to make special mention also to DSD Jun Miral for being very open to this process given the limited time and facility that we have. I hope that our conversation starting today will be open, constructive, and courageous, and together let us craft a national budget that truly serves the people, not just in word but in deed. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you, Kong Jude, for that message. I think it's high time that the resource person, the representative of Safe Travel Philippines, who was also the first one to come in this morning, Engineer Eris San Siago, the Executive Director of Safe Travel Philippines.
Magandang tanghali po sa lahat. Maraming salamat po sa imbitasyon. 3 minutes. So, sa mga ano po natin kasama natin sa Congress po, marami po salamat sa imbitasyon. Sa napaka-importante pong gawain po natin dito na para mabalangkas yung responsive and transparent budget. I'm Erison Shango from Safe Travel PH. We are a research and development organization based in UP NCPAG, College for Public Administration and Governance. So we focus on public transport, doing data-driven research and developing open data tools to help different actors of hot topic natin, modernization. We engage with LGUs, co-ops, drivers, and commuters. Siguro ipapresent ko lang din to share, kasi bilang researchers, madalas kami parang bearer or bad news. No? So medyo pagpasensya nyo na yung mga bad news na i-share ko ngayon. So since we started closely looking at yung PUVMP natin, modernization program in 2021, we have seen, unfortunately, very little improvements in the system. Siguro, personal assessment ko na lang po, even with the modernization program, our road-based public transport system is dying. Not yet dead, not yet, pero trying to survive and in need of parang may resuscitation, no? Or interventions. So siguro to better describe that, 3 things, no? Number 1, the main actors of this modernization, our cooperatives, no, are struggling financially. Whether new or veteran multipurpose cooperatives with many reported delayed payments and defaults, or now up to restructuring na sila on their loans to modernize their fleet. May mga labor disputes here and there. Every year, meron po tayong mga hearings sa Kongreso, sa Senate, pero for them, whether pro or anti-modernization, real help has yet to come or arrive. Number 2, commuters still spend long times waiting for their rides, and then they commute and lost many hours every day. Our data shows that in major cities, Manila man or outside Metro Manila, the average speed of our PUVs, jeepneys or buses is around, any guess, average speed, turnout time, 9 to 14 kilometers per hour. 9 to 14, no, average speed. Even slower than the popular, yung laging nare-report, no, na TomTom traffic index, which is around 18 kilometers per hour. And that's for private cars. So, ang conclusion doon, mas mabilis pa rin ang private cars, no, in general. Maybe exemption yung EDSA busway natin. Number 3, our wicked problem on traffic congestion and its economic and social impacts mainly stems from this, a dying road public transport system. Quick survey, kasi research, no? Sino po nag-commute dito papunta sa Congress? Mahirap mag-commute. Ayan, 1, 2. So, I guess like me, we chose more comfortable or safer or faster modes like private car or Grab, or baka may nag-bike pa dito, no? Baka mas mabilis pa. So our public transport is losing demand, and customers, di ba? Like us, customer tayo ng public transport, pero nababawasan yung demand and customers ng ating mga kasama sa public transport. Further contributing to traffic congestion, when we chose other private modes. Lastly, our friends and collaborators from the executive departments are also struggling. Every year, their proposed budget for public transport outside railways, specific to PUVMP, gets slashed outrightly. No? Parang copy-paste na dito yung DBM no, sa NEP nila, kung mapapansin nyo po no, yung budget levels nila. And that's the elephant in the room, relevant to our purpose for today. We ask the industry and government actors with huge responsibility to modernize, but with very little funding. And everyone is suffering every day. Comparable to other social infrastructure programs, public transport is an essential and critical lifeline, especially for low-income households. Sila ang hindi nakakapag-down payment sa mga mumurahing sasakyan. No? Comparing din, meron tayong agriculture and AFP modernization program that gets considerable constant funding annually. But our public transport modernization program gets about the same budget as yung budget ng DPWH to fix the potholes, yung mga minor repairs ng DPWH. So question is, are potholes on our roads regularly fixed? No. Are our public transport regular and reliable? Also no, no. So ano ba yung real answer? Nasa budget po talaga. And then, ayun po sir, thank you po sa time. I guess yung final message is we need to fund a public transport that's for the people and from the people's budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Aris, for trying to discuss the problems of transportation in the country. So our next speaker also will be discussing and presenting more specific sectoral concerns. So let me call on Kairos de la Cruz of the ICSC to discuss and present issues regarding climate change.
Thank you, Congresswoman Mika Swansing, Congressman Garcia, Congressman Acidre, friends from CPBRD. Maraming salamat po. I always take pride in going back here in Congress, where I started my career as part of the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities 14 years ago, when I pushed for the People's Survival Fund to become a law. ICSC is a policy group advancing climate finance access and transparency, clean energy, and local adaptation. We partner with governments, including the Philippine government, communities, fellow civil society groups, scientists, and policymakers to push for climate resilient and low carbon development in the Philippines and internationally. We also serve as the environment and climate NGO sector representative of the Philippine Open Government Partnership, which is led by the Department of Budget and Management, which commits to transparent, participatory, and accountable governance. Fiscal openness and climate and environment are two key policy areas of our open government agenda. Civil society engagement in all stages of the budget cycle, planning, legislation, implementation, and oversight, strengthens transparency, accountability, and inclusiveness. This ensures that the budget reflects not only evidence-based technical priorities, but also the community's realities and needs. This is where climate finance accountability and our very own climate change expenditure tagging, or CSET, would be critical. The CSET particularly ensures that the public budget is aligned with our climate commitments as envisioned in our National Adaptation Plan and nationally determined contributions, which prioritize, for example, food security, water sufficiency, ecological stability, human security, climate-smart industries and services, sustainable energy, and knowledge and capacity development. Strengthening and revisiting the climate tagging process in budget planning is necessary to improve how we track, manage, and report expenditures critical to both climate change adaptation and mitigation. This provides legislators and the public with a clear view of how much the budget addresses climate risks, enabling the right to information and accountability for resources to reach those most at risk. We should work to ensure that we go beyond numbers, we go beyond the tagging,